Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from True Off My Chest. Our first post is by Pasanqueco says, "The guy that first did homework for in high school reached out and now wants to buy me a house. I've 29F, always been good with numbers and responsible. It was more noticeable in school cause no one gave a crap. But given that I have CP, cerebral palsy, and walk with crutches plus being a nerd, you can imagine I was an extremely easy target for bullying. One year they mixed us, so I had new classmates. The bullying was worse, but then one of the popular guys would defend me. At first I was confused, but when I saw that he would leave me his notebooks, I understood. And so began our symbiotic relationship. The bullying stopped, and I would make his homework every day. We never talked about it, and whenever he spoke to me, he sounded angry. It was like that for almost 3 years, and his grades went up. I was just grateful I could be at peace in school. We graduated and never spoke again, nor did I see him again. But then a week ago he reached out in Instagram. He told me how good life had been for him. He offered to buy me a house and a car. At first I thought it was a scam, but we made video calls, he showed me things, and it's legit. Long story short, he is a successful businessman worth millions living abroad. He said he always remembered me cause I helped him get where he is now. He said he wanted to repay me, cause he knew how hard it is to be disabled and a woman in my country specifically. He's not wrong, but I'm actually doing okay right now, so I declined all his offers. But then I received a call from a medical center, the most expensive where I live, mind you, saying I had 3 years of physical therapy paid for. How he knew I did physical therapy, I don't know. I still thought it was a joke, so I went there and it was true. I already did my first 2 sessions and my body feels so much better. I'm still, cause I saw our relationship as purely transactional, and now he comes and says he owes me. I am so confused. Edit 1. Damn, I wasn't expecting this many replies. Thank you all for your kind words, it made me understand a little how he may feel. I already texted him so we can talk a little bit more about his offers, cause even though I turned them down, he said they'd still be up, and hopefully I can have a hand on the wheel to choose some less crazy expensive options. Thank you again, I feel less guilty now." Our next post is by Deleted. "My husband has given me the ick. We've been together for 5 years and have a history of arguments that would happen whenever I tried to express how I felt about something. For example, he has an annual camping trip with his dad and brother, and on his last trip didn't call or message at all. My calls and messages went ignored for 10 days until he returned and then blew up when I asked him to just check in from time to time so that I know he's okay. He ignored me for almost 2 weeks after that one. He's always blamed me for the arguments, so 6 months ago I decided to just agree with him on everything to see what would happen. So for 6 months I've sat and smiled and agreed that I was a silly little girl for causing all of our past problems, and he loves it. He's recently confessed that he wanted to open the marriage on his side, so I agreed, and I've listened every time he's either realized he's being catfished or every time a younger woman decides she doesn't want anything to do with him. And it's always a problem with them, not him. He's happier and much more interested in sleeping with me too. He's full of praise for me for submitting to him and fulfilling his needs. He even wants to get me pregnant. Not have a family but breed me. He's been very clear that it would be my responsibility as the woman to raise the baby. I'm on the pill, which he doesn't know about because he doesn't believe in contraceptives. He's not religious, he just thinks that all women should have babies and that they'll be bitter and angry if they don't. For 6 months I've been perfect for him, and in those 6 months I've completely fallen out of love with him. I've become repulsed by him, and when he starts complaining about the latest 20-year-old not wanting anything to do with him, I want to laugh and point out every reason why that is. I've heard others talking about the ick and never really understood it until now." Our next post is by Whole Pomegranate. "My parents tried to screw over my dying stepmother, blew up all of our lives instead. Throwaway for obvious reasons. My 17F stepmother, Jane, is a wonderful, wonderful woman. She and my father got married when I was 4, and she's been a rock in my life ever since. My mother was always my primary caregiver, but up until that point her relationship with my father was acrimonious, and I basically never saw him. Jane was the reason they developed a stable co-parenting relationship. She encouraged everyone having a good relationship with each other, and was always there to support me and my mom when things got rough. Jane was always a really hard worker. When she met my dad, he was living out of a hotel, and my mother was doing everything in her power to keep me away from him because she was petty and angry that their relationship didn't work out. Meanwhile, Jane had a great job, a nice house, helped my dad get back on his feet, negotiated a visitation schedule with my mom, who hated her for a long time, and made sure my dad sent us money every week because neither one of them could afford an attorney to negotiate child support payments. Jane had no reason to do any of these things, but as I got older she made it clear that she loved me as much as she loved my half-brothers who were born a few years later. I even have my own room in her house because at the time we lived with my grandparents, various boyfriends of my mom, and Jane felt that I needed a more stable environment than that. She's like the opposite of the evil stepmom. When I was 15, Jane won a big lawsuit against an airline company and got awarded upwards of $1 million. She used the money to build sizable trust funds for me and my brothers so that we would be taken care of later in life. Despite having a lot more money, she still wanted to live a fairly modest life. So she paid off the house she has and has been living there ever since with my dad. Sure, she bought a new car and they went on a few nice vacations, but she didn't blow all her money on stupid things, which I respected. About a year ago, things started getting really weird. Whenever I saw Jane, she seemed to look sicker and sicker. But no one would tell me or my brothers why, even though I know they knew. All we knew is that she was at the hospital a lot. Around the same time, my mom has been coming around my dad a lot more and acting really strange, basically like she was trying to romance him. Whenever Jane was in the hospital, my mother would insist on spending the night at their house and playing mom to my brothers, which was so weird to me because she never liked them or Jane. She'd be the perfect little housewife, and my mom is not like that at all. It was super fake. Worst of all, my dad started falling for it. I'm not stupid. I'm pretty sure they were sleeping together. I tried to shield my brothers from it, but they're not dumb either. I tried talking to my dad too, but he insisted it wasn't like that. Then a few weeks ago, my mom started talking about all the places she'd like to visit, how she wanted a new car and was looking to invest. Which is weird because my mom has been a bartender her whole life and has lived paycheck to paycheck since before I was born. She was acting like she was about to get a lot of money, which started to make me really suspicious. Between Jane being sick and my mom acting all nouveau riche, I had a lot of questions. Finally, I decided to visit Jane in the hospital and ask her about my trust fund. I found out that if anything happened to her, that my dad would inherit all the money, including full control of the trusts for me and my brothers. She asked me why I was so interested in the trust fund, so I told her what's going on with my parents and how my mom has been acting with my dad. I didn't want to, but after everything she did for me, she deserved the truth. It really hurt me to break her heart like that, especially once I found out that she was basically in hospice at this point because of irreversible kidney failure. She's only got a few more months. We both cried so much. Then, 2 days ago, everything came to a head. My mom stormed in furious and started arguing with my dad. Apparently, Jane met with her lawyer and changed the trust so that my dad would get nothing and all of the trusts would be controlled by my step-aunt. She demanded to know how Jane found out about their relationship, and I came out and told them that I told Jane everything. I told them that if they wanted to play stupid games, they would win stupid prizes, and that I wasn't going to let them screw Jane over after all the help she gave my family when she didn't have to. My mom slapped me and my dad just looked so defeated. Then my mom told my dad that she didn't really love him, that she was just pretending to so he would marry her and she could get all of the money. The worst part about it is that my brothers witnessed the whole thing, and now on top of their mom dying, they have to deal with a cheating dad and his vindictive ex. Our whole family is in ruins, and I feel like it's my fault, even though I know it's not. Yesterday, I visited Jane again and told her about the fallout. She apologized and said that she had to dissolve my trust fund to make sure my mother didn't get a hold of the money, but that as her oldest, I will inherit the house property after she is gone, and that's worth more than the other 2 trust funds combined. My father won't get anything because she's going to divorce him before she dies, and honestly, I'm happy for her. She made me promise to take care of my brothers and told me that once I turn 18 this summer, I can kick my dad out of the house if I want to. And I fully plan to do that. By the way, I haven't talked to my dad since, and I can't even look at my mom. I can't believe they would conspire to do this to Jane after all this time. Just proof that they deserve each other, and I'm embarrassed that they're my parents. Once I turn 18, I'm going to cut my dad out as much as I can and cut my mom out completely. I hope she rots. Meanwhile, I'm going to try and be at the hospital as much as I can until Jane passes away. Anyways, I just needed to vent. I'm really messed up about the whole thing, and I feel super betrayed, although I can't even begin to imagine how Jane feels. I'm gonna be so effed up when she dies. I can't even think about that right now. But at least she's not surrounded by people who just want to bring her down. Thanks for reading. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.